I'd like that if I was.
Welcome to this afternoon's special meeting. Vanessa, would you please call the roll?
Chair Milliken,
Present.
Vice Chair Davis,
Here.
Treasurer DeVarty,
DeVarty here.
Secretary Hatcher,
Hatcher here.
Trustee Fleming, Trustee Landau,
Here.
Trustee McKnight Morton.
Here.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
And support? We have support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The agenda is approved. Thank you. Verbal communications, Washtenaw Community College Education Association. Anybody in the house for that report?
No.
If not, are there any public comments? Seeing none, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn this special meeting and move to closed session to discuss a legal opinion.
I move to adjourn the special meeting and go to closed session.
DeVarty second.
And there's support. Is there any discussion? Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Milliken,
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis,
Yes.
Treasurer DeVarty,
DeVarty, yes.
Secretary Hatcher,
Yes.
Trustee Landau,
Landau, yes?
Trustee McKnight Morton.
Yes.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our spacious trustee meeting here in Towsley Auditorium. We're happy that you're all here. Vanessa, would you please call the roll?
Chair Milliken,
Here.
Vice Chair Davis,
Here.
Treasurer DeVarty,
DeVarty here.
Secretary Hatcher,
Here.
Trustee Fleming, Trustee Landau,
Here.
Trustee McKnight Morton.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve tonight's agenda, please?
So moved.
And support?
Support.
We have a motion and support. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The agenda is approved. Thank you. Tab A in our packet this evening is the recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve the minutes of the June 16th monthly meeting.
I so move.
We have a motion
DeVarty moves.
and support.
Support.
And support. Is there any discussion? Any corrections? All in favor of the approval of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The minutes stand approved. Thank you. Verbal communications, the WCC Education Association. Ms. Kissel, I see you stepping to the microphone. Good evening.
Well, good evening. It is July 2021. As I said last month, returning to normal is not a reality, and with each week this becomes more evident. This feeling of our new normal was especially true as I looked over the personnel list for this month's meeting and saw the list of departures growing. While we are excited to celebrate the retirements of our colleagues like Arnett Chisholm, we are also keenly aware that we have reached the time to say goodbye to our friends from the culinary department. Derek Anders Jr., Cheryl Politi, Chris Troiano, Andrew Lehman, and many part-timers. As we have already experienced with the closure of the Child Care Center, our colleagues in the culinary department will leave WCC for something new. For this last year, they have endured the countdown to the end while continuing to serve their students and support one another, a task that was surely difficult and bittersweet at times. Although the closing packages for the full-time faculty are settled, this does not lessen the sadness surrounding their departure and the closing of the culinary program. Indeed, the scars of the pandemic run deep. For our devoted members in the culinary department and the many more who are looking at their end of their time at Washtenaw, the WCCEA sincerely wishes you well. I know that I look to a future where we can have the opportunity to celebrate, connect, and remember our time together. But until then, I wish you ease during this transition and much success in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any public comments this evening? Vanessa, are there any written communications?
There was none received.
No written communications. We have some special reports. The 2021 MCCA Alumnus of the Year Award. President Belanca.
Yes, I'm sorry. Do we have Aisha?
No, the Wi-Fi just went down.
Oh, the Wi-Fi went down? Should we wait and come back to it?
Let's see if it comes up, and we'll come back to that.
Okay.
An Ellucian update. Can you move to an Ellucian update?
Oh, here
for us?
she is.
What, oh, is she here?
Yep.
Is Aisha here?
Yep.
It says we're connected again.
Hello,
There she is.
hello, hello, hello. Hello.
Back to the Alumnus of the Year Award.
Yes.
President Belanca.
Yes, hello, Aisha. I am honored to introduce Aisha Beau as the 2021 MCCA Outstanding Alumnus Award winner. Any introduction of Aisha must start with her considerable accomplishments. After graduating from Washtenaw in 2005, she went on to earn a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering and a master's in space systems engineering from the University of Michigan. Yes, you know, they say, you think I'm a rocket scientist? She's a rocket scientist. She's a real rocket scientist in our presence. She turned a 3-month internship opportunity with NASA into a 7-year career as a mission engineer and aerospace engineer at the NASA Ames Research Center in Mountain View, California, where she focused on miniaturized satellites and aircraft trajectory optimization. Being based in Silicon Valley, Aisha was surrounded by aspiring tech entrepreneurs, and she caught the bug herself. In 2013, she founded STEM Board, an engineering solutions company that solves technology challenges for clients in the aerospace and in the defense industries. That sounds like they're doing some important work, right? Well, STEM Board has made a side mission driven by Aisha that is even more impressive. And that is to help close the opportunity gap in STEM fields among historically underrepresented youth worldwide. Aisha has traveled the world to inspire students from disadvantaged communities, especially girls. And that message wouldn't be as impactful if Aisha wasn't willing to tell her own story of growing up in a working class family, the daughter of a taxi driver who immigrated from the Bahamas, and being an unmotivated and unfocused student, hard to believe, whose high school counselor suggested she pursue a career in cosmetology. Look at where she is today. Aisha is quick to credit her community college experience for sparking her success and has become a strong community college advocate, regularly spreading our merits everywhere, from nationally syndicated talk shows to her large social media platform. She told Forbes magazine that earning an A in a pre-algebra class at WCC is what put her on the path to becoming an aerospace engineer and tech entrepreneur. She says that that A sparked a series of small wins in her life that snowballed and motivated her to shoot for bigger and better goals. Beyond being proud of all of Aisha's accomplishments, and Aisha, I join the many who are very, very, very proud. You're on all of our buses, you're on all of our walls, you're in all of our publications, you're in all of our buildings. But I'm even more grateful for what you've done and how you've given back to WCC and to our students. Although she's based in Washington, D.C., she has visited our Ann Arbor campus several times to participate in STEM-related activities and speak to various classes and groups. On one visit, she announced the Aisha Beau M-Power Engineering Scholarship for WCC students intending to transfer to the University of Michigan College of Engineering. Thank you so much. She's become a bit of a rock star on our campus, and every visit has culminated with her exchanging personal contact information with students that she continues to mentor. So I really wish to commend the selection committee, although why wouldn't they, for wholeheartedly endorsing the choice of Aisha Beau. And this is for the entire state, Michigan Community College Association, for the entire state. And so to receive this recognition as the 2021 MCCA Outstanding Alumnus Award winner is really an honor. And I also thank you so much for all you've done and continue to do for WCC, for our students, and our entire community college system. And Aisha, on behalf of our Board of Trustees, our students, our faculty, our staff, our community, thank you. Thank you so much, and congratulations. And I do have, we'll mail this to you, obviously. If you were here, I'm sorry I didn't have it out of the bag sooner. I'm getting it. With this beautiful apple award that we would like to present to you. Can you see it? It's a crystal apple. How can I show you? How do I show her? Oh, where's the camera?
Right,
Oh, that's the camera. Where?
right there.
You see it? Do you see it now?
It's clear.
Well, it says.
Trust us, Elise.
Yeah, Aisha Beau in recognition as MCCA 2021 Outstanding Alumnus of the Year, Washtenaw Community College. Thank you so much, Aisha. Would you-
Aisha, we have you here on our monitor. Would you like to make any comments? Our connection may not be adequate,
Froze.
but
Oh, there you go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
yes, we
Would
can
you
now. Please, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
Yes. Thank you so much for the glowing introduction, President Belanca. To the members of the Board of Trustees, while I appreciate the honor, it is truly a pleasure to be here to address you today. Washtenaw Community College, it not only changed my life, it saved my life. I have no idea where I would be without the work that you all do to support the students, the community, and your graduates. And I had a really hard time accepting the award earlier in the week because I'll tell you, I almost cried during the MCCA presentation because this is something I feel so strongly about. I cannot communicate to you how much I did not know
Oh,
I was going to go when I was at Washtenaw Community College. And today it is an honor to have the opportunity to support the community college as well as the students and continue to be a resource moving forward. And I'm very excited about this scholarship. I've been plotting and, almost every talk I give for a major tech company, I'm trying to get them to contact Washtenaw Community College and see if we can get some more resources and things. And so I just would like to communicate my gratitude for being recognized. And I would like to extend my, I would like to extend my organization and my resources to be of assistance. Did it pause?
Yeah, there. That's good.
Oh, I don't know what was the last thing you heard, but I wanted to thank you for honoring me. I almost cried. And then I wanted to extend my organization and our resources, however we can be helpful to all of you and Washtenaw Community College and the students in the future. Please do not hesitate to tap on me if there's ever anything we can do.
Thank you so very much, Aisha. Thank you.
We apologize for that connection, Aisha, but it's been great to listen to you. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations on your performance and your future. We're all rooting for you, and we hope that we'll see you on campus again one of these days. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Belanca, the Ellucian update is next on our agenda. Can you bring us up to date?
Yes, I would be happy to. At this time, I'd like to introduce Todd Kruger, our CIO, to give us an update on the progress Ellucian has made over the past year.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's hard to follow that wonderful experience, but that's really why we're here. We, as Ellucian, are here to support students and help students be successful, and that was a wonderful example of what happened. So grateful to be here. I apologize for some of the tech issues. We'll get later in my presentation here what we're doing about those, but we are definitely aware of those and doing everything we can to prevent them. With that, I'm going to jump right into our topics that we have today. We're going to talk about bridging the digital divide, about enabling student success, and about facilitating remote operations and other accomplishments and metrics, and then our path forward. Bridging the digital divide, we could simply say it, we provided a lot of technology, and we did provide a lot of technology, over 200 hotspots, about 1,000 computers. But it really gets much deeper than that. There's a lot that goes into providing that technology, the right technology at the right price. We always want to make sure we get the right price. And then all of the back-end systems to make that happen. For instance, we provided 483 laptops to students that met certain criteria. But we also created the web form, the back-end tracking, and all the information on the back-end that made that happen. And then the data feeds that got sent to our distributor, who then sent them directly to the students, so they didn't pass through Washtenaw. So there was a lot that went into that and the other efforts. And from everything I've heard, the laptops and the hotspots have been a huge success. So that is a big win and part of our efforts to bridge the digital divide. With regard to enabling student success, and again, the items I'm talking about here today are really the tip of the iceberg. I really cannot begin to cover everything in this amount of time, but there's been really a lot of accomplishments and a lot of partnership to get us here. So what you see on the right side of the screen there is the old and the new version of banner of student and registration self-service. So the old version is probably circa early 2000s in its look and feel, whereas the one on the right is a new modern interface. And really what it does is it saves students time. And it's a personalized advising for better academic decisions. It allows students to view registration status, to create a week-at-a-glance schedule preview, and to review their degree works to track program completion. And that's just part of it. Mobile application revitalization. This was a great collaborative effort with the marketing team. The mobile app had not been updated since 2016. And the mobile app that we did have was only for Apple. We did not have one for Android. So it was successfully launched on June 16th. And what you see on the right is a couple of screenshots. That screenshot on the left is the main image of the app, and then the one on the right is the menu of all the things you can do, which includes students can register for classes, can check grades, and pay their tuition really from the palm of their hand. Targeted messaging through the app's push notification system. And it's a free My WCC app, so provides them access to all these things. And from what I know about students, they like their apps. They like mobile. They like their apps. And the feedback we've heard on this has been very positive. Enabling student success, more of it. So we prepped and updated campus classrooms and labs to meet the needs for COVID-19. We improved the college website course search to accommodate the virtual classroom mode. And we created the back-end technology to facilitate the Futures for Frontliners and Reconnect scholarship programs. And really what that means is there would have been a lot of data entry and a lot of possibility for data entry errors. But we were able to automate that process and have it save time and increase the accuracy at the same time. And one of the other things I'm very proud of is we were able to improve the course search page so students could easily search for courses with no cost or reduced cost book options. So that was a big deal, and we got a lot of very positive feedback on that, and from what I understand, the students really appreciate that. So that was a big win as well. Facilitating remote operations. So that's really what we've been focused on a lot this past year. It needs to be, I think, noted that everything we were able to accomplish, and I'm excited for not only what we're talking about, but for the groundwork we laid for other projects. But this was all done during a pandemic. And to say it made things more difficult would probably be an understatement. We supported faculty, students, and staff on a myriad of technical issues. And a lot of those technical issues would not have been in play had they not been on their home network with those inherent problems, et cetera. So there was a lot that went into it. We learned a lot, really along the way. We provided webcams, laptops, and other peripherals as needed. And we also had to modify, for those people that took desktop computers home, we had to modify those images so that they could get the security updates, because normally the desktop computers had to be on campus to get security updates. So a lot went into it, but you'll see here the equipment pickups chart at the bottom. There's a lot of laptops, desktops, and when it says peripherals, that includes webcams. So a lot of webcams and monitors were delivered, or were picked up, rather. A few more items. So we were able to have faxes redirected to email. So rather than having staff have to come in the office to get faxes, after them sitting there for several days, we were able to automate them to go directly to their email. We implemented soft phones, and what that means is they could make and receive phone calls from their computer. And the benefit of this is what we found early on is when people were using their cell phones to call students weren't answering the call because they didn't know who it was. But when we implemented soft phones, students would then answer the phone. So that was a big win. And of course, we did multi-factor authentication and virtual private network. And what that does is provide a secure tunnel with two factors to ensure their identity. So what multi-factor is it, even if you have the username and password, you still have to have another form of authentication, which is usually a cell phone or a fob, which ensures someone is not impersonating and logging into their system. Okay, more accomplishments and metrics, more to come. So we were able to obtain on-demand banner training for college staff. So in partnering with the VP of Instruction, we identified a need to improve their use of the tools to improve operating efficiency. And one of their goals was to re-engineer their processes. So we were able to obtain free licenses for several months, and worked with them to obtain licenses so they could improve the process and efficiency of their staff. We were able to coordinate so that Washtenaw received a $4,000 Ellucian MS Advantage program donation. And we also facilitated with the TLC to post free Ellucian webinars. So those free Ellucian webinars were aimed at helping faculty teach remotely and other related skills. And the feedback we received from faculty was very positive. I remember one in particular saying, I would attend another one. The person that gave this presentation definitely knew their stuff. It was valuable. And when you think about the transition to working remote, having those resources that were expert in that area was very valuable. And then, of course, we collaborated with stakeholders really across the campus. What I think and hope you'll see is that we've been really a part of the fabric of so many things that you may not think of as being IT. But we were able to partner with different departments. For instance, we partnered with VP Mueller on their Power Business Analytics needs and worked with our contacts at Microsoft to help facilitate that. We partnered with Orchard Radio to ensure their technology needs were addressed. And then, of course, we partnered with the facilities department on campus construction moves and making sure the computers got moved. So a lot of collaboration, partnership to understand and to address needs. The help desk and user services accomplishments. What you'll see at the right here is a monthly report, or a copy of a monthly report that I get every month. And I review that report. I also get a copy of every survey we get back from anyone that we support. So we have a very high percentage here of people that respond to our survey, and every one of those pieces of survey I review. Now, some of them don't include words, but some of them do, and when they do, I read them all. And some of them offer opportunities that we can address and improve. Others, complement the things that we do. But I am constantly reviewing that data to see what we can improve. And over the past year, we've used that data to really improve our follow-up and follow-through and our communication. So that feedback has been invaluable in what we're trying to do, which is really to exceed expectations while we facilitate the mission of the college. So our average speed of answer for the past 4 months, we've really been working on it, was 55 seconds. And for just this past month, the average speed of answer was 29 seconds. What that means, the average speed to answer a phone call at the help desk. 29 seconds for this past month, that is outstanding. I've been at many other colleges, and they would be very envious, so that's fantastic. We continued providing 24/7 support, and our central help desk responded to about 10,000 tickets. And our help desk closed about 4,000 tickets on site, and our user services about 6,000 tickets. And our quality rating was 4.64 out of a 5 scale. So that's very good. I still think we can do better, but we've definitely been focusing on that and raising it as we've gone along. Metrics. So we have a total of over 4,500 computer devices. We've increased by 814 this year. That's about a 21.5% increase. And we're currently managing over 70 computer labs and over 180 classrooms. So a lot's going on right now. Even as we speak, we've been working to reimage and make sure the classrooms are all ready to go. And you'll see in the bottom right, that's our list of hardware procurement, and that lists the computers and when we purchase them. So rolling into the summer months, obviously, we're purchasing computers for labs and getting ready for people coming back in the office, et cetera. So that's really the reason behind the spike. And user services accomplishments. So you'll see Tony there, very excited about all of our accomplishments here. We installed next-gen antivirus. It's just the next level of providing good antivirus, good security support. We continued to monitor security threats, and we updated the student computer purchase portal, which includes Dell computers that students can buy at a reduced price. Okay, infrastructure. This gets to the wireless issue that we kind of experienced earlier. Our wireless controller is over 11 years old. So many of our access points are also very old. Our fiber plant is old. Okay, so there's a lot of things that are old that we are trying feverishly to not only update, replace, but identify areas where we need to include more access points. So we are in year one of a 3-year plan that is a very involved plan and a lot going on, but we are very aware of how critical it is that we have stable and robust wireless and network infrastructure. We're very aware of that, and it's something that we're putting a lot of focus on. We also changed our firewall rules, brought them in line with best practices, and like I said, network upgrades were very much a part of it. The phones ecosystem. Now, I am not going to review this eye chart in detail. There will not be a test on this later. But I included this just so you see the complexity of our phone system. And there's a lot that goes on to make it all work. But we saw opportunities to make it better. So that's what we did. Our Avaya phone system didn't have a redundant server. So now it has a redundant server. So if we have an issue with the first one, we have a redundant server that should work, and we shouldn't have the phone system go down. That's very important. We have a new vendor for phone calls. The other vendor we had some reliability issues with, and we're improving our fiber plant for phone calls. We're changing our IP schema, which will allow us to provide connectivity redundancy. Right now, with the way it's configured, we don't have the redundancy that we need. And we implemented and integrated a Avaya chat server for a more seamless chat experience. Cybersecurity. So we were able to reduce the personally identifiable information by 50%, and we're still focusing on reducing that much, much further. That is a top priority. We increased use of our dual multi-factor authentication. That is generally known as a best practice for improving security and minimizing the impact of phishing. Even if someone gets someone's network ID and password, because of Duo, they cannot log into that system. So I do know hackers are trying to work around that, but that is the #1 best practice for dealing with phishing. And then we do Department of Homeland Security vulnerability scanning, and of course we do security patching. So those are all very much part of our security posture and something we take very seriously. Accomplishments. So we were able to eliminate several custom banner forms and processes for the nursing department, and because of that, that reduced the number of resources required to perform those functions. We were able to implement applicant tracking system automation with Banner. So what that means is the data is integrated directly into Banner without data entry, and that reduces time and reduces data entry errors. We also fixed the financial aid appeals system test environment. Now, this has been broken for several years, and the financial aid appeals system is very critical. And what that meant was we couldn't test anything in the test environment before we installed it in production because we didn't have a functioning test environment. That was literally down for several years, and we were able to get that fixed. That's a big deal because the financial aid appeals system is a critical component here. We decommissioned the outdated core server, thereby improving security. So this sounds like a simple thing, just turn off a server, right? Well, you had to find a place to move those other technologies. So we were able to move the other technologies to an appropriate server and decommission the outdated core server that had some security issues. And then we updated Banner schedules due to changes in instructional modes. And of course, that was all part of facilitating the remote teaching. Okay. More than $2 million in cost savings, cost avoidance. We looked very closely at the cost we were paying for computers and the cost that we were paying for network gear. And we're able to, based on experience that I and others had at other places, knew the kind of discounts we could ask for and get. And so based on the data I have on what we were paying in the past, we saved about $1.9 million on computers and network gear. We saved another $25,000 by increasing our local Blackboard archive space, and saved approximately $100,000 on software licensing and another $125,000 on our various phone services that we were able to either change the contract, reduce the contract, that type of thing. So very, very pleased with the savings, but more important, we think we improved our offerings. Okay, the path forward. Where do we go from here? Very exciting. So we created a technology sustainability plan. So this is a kind of an agile, nimble, and appropriately robust technology strategy plan. We took a collaborative approach, met with stakeholders to ensure we got feedback on what their various needs were. And then our goal is to obviously be innovative to advance the mission of the college. And of course, we tied all these things to the strategic priorities of the college. So you'll see on the right, there's 7, I guess, IT categories, if you will, and each of those categories are mapped to the Washtenaw strategic priorities. So we want to do everything we can to facilitate the mission and the strategic objectives. So what you see here on the right is a dashboard, if you will, a snapshot of a dashboard. Now, this is still a beta version of that dashboard. But one of the things that I found was there was a need to improve our project management and a need to improve our tracking and the need to provide visibility to senior leadership on what was going on, what we were doing. So this is a dashboard that will provide the right people the right access to see what's happening. And it also provides IT with detailed dashboards that allows us to really track projects line item by line item, assign tasks, hold people accountable, those type of things. So we've really made a lot of progress in this area. We will also be able to generate resource utilization information. But certainly, I'm not going to talk about a lot of our projects for this next year. Some of them, the network upgrade project is definitely one of them. Faculty load and compensation is another one where we are able to utilize capabilities of our existing technology to implement faculty load and compensation in a more standard baseline and better overall system for really all involved. But the project I want to talk about really the most briefly is our Argos data reporting project. So not only will Argos provide data and the ability to slice and dice and manipulate data to the people that need it, it's giving us an opportunity to partner with our stakeholders and review the business process that goes into creating this data. Because the challenge with data is you can only report, your reports are only as good as the data. And in some cases, the business processes may not have been leading to the right data. So we've had phenomenal partnership with the various stakeholders to review the data and make sure that we identify what business processes may need to be changed, modified in order to ensure that we get the right data so that we can be as efficient and effective and promote student success as much as is possible. So that's really a brief outline of everything that we've done. That's, again, the tip of the iceberg. There's really been a lot more, but the partnership and collaboration with everyone to really identify technology items that are going to move and advance the mission of the college has been fantastic. So with that, questions?
President Blanca, do you have anything to add to the report?
No. Well, I'm going to thank him in a minute.
Trustee Hatcher.
I can thank him, thank you.
Thank you.
I have two questions. Is the dashboard that we see a piece of, is that confidential?
So my plan is to have multiple versions of the dashboard. There's some things in the one main dashboard that I don't want to go out to everybody.
Sure.
But my current plan is to make a certain version of it public is my current plan.
Because we get something similar to that for facilities.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to see whatever version you're willing to share at our meetings.
Yeah.
I would appreciate that.
Absolutely. And if there's things that you don't see that you need, let's certainly talk about them. But yeah, that's my plan. We're several iterations away from where I want to be, but yeah, my plan is to provide that information.
And my second question is, how have you addressed or relieved or helped the angst of emeritus who've had to change their email address?
So that's a great question, and we've really tried to partner with them to answer their questions and work with them. I know someone called today and worked with our email administrators, or not the help desk, but our email administrator to work through their questions and to make sure that they got the help that they need.
So they call the help desk? And
Yeah.
get the help?
They actually called the help desk. I forget who they spoke to, but yeah, we actually got them routed to our email administrator, who's the most expert
So
on it.
one at a time, you've helped?
Well, yeah, but we've also provided, FAQs or frequently asked questions, provided information that they need in order to get their questions answered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee DeVarty.
First of all, I'd like to really thank your entire department for the steps forward that you've been taking. The one thing, just a simple question on the help desk, which I think is something we should always strive for 100% and to help everybody that asks. So I did a quick addition here. Tickets worked by central help desk, tickets closed by on-site help desk, tickets closed by user services. And I find very modest, less than 0.5%, so 0.5% of tickets that were not closed by either the help desk on-site or the user services. So it's 43 was the number I came up with, the hard number. But striving for perfection, I'm just asking for what would happen to those handful of people who didn't reach closure with those first two things.
Well, again, you're looking at a slice of time, right?
Right.
So it's not that they didn't get solved, it's just they didn't get solved in that slice of time.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean, we don't purposely ignore 43 or 4 or 1 person.
Right.
We strive to address everyone. Now, just to be clear, there are some people who call the help desk and are very mad at us and give us a low rating because the college is closed on Saturday. I mean, there's people that are not happy for things that I'm real sorry.
IT.
Right.
Yeah, and so they give IT a bad rating because the college is closed. Because again, all calls get routed to the help desk over the weekend.
Well, I'm asking the question, but it's it's a remarkable record that you're able to close 99.5% within this window of time. I was just wondering if are there some that don't get solved, or apparently?
So one way or the other, they all get closed. I mean,
Okay.
so, if there's something that's, for instance, people will make a request that we can't do, that they'll make a request that's going to risk security or those type of things, or we'll work with their manager and say, look, this is the impact, this is whatever. The managers will say, don't do it. And again, when we tell them, they get mad, but we still close the ticket. So every ticket, we should not have anything disappearing. And when I've looked at it, again, there's slice of time issues that deal with this, but you don't get the same amount of tickets, in every day.
But it's still remarkable. I asked the question, but I don't want you to take a bad inference from it.
No, thank you.
Okay.
If I may, one of the what I think is very, very impressive is that Todd actually reviews every single comment, and I know because I get this report, every single comment, and any comment that is a negative comment.
Anyone that's 3 or below out of 5.
Anything 3 or below, go ahead, tell them what you do.
Yeah, then we reach out to them. We reach out to them and ask them, what we could have done different. And sometimes we get good answers, sometimes we don't. And the other thing is, anyone on any rating that asks for us to respond to, and we respond. Sometimes we'll get all 5 glowing reviews, and they say, please respond. I think sometimes people don't know what that means, but anyways, if they say they want to be responded to, we respond to them. And again, sometimes we get good feedback, sometimes we don't. But yeah, everyone.
It's good practice.
Ruth?
I have one more question, and that is, as an institution, are we moving toward limiting the use of WCC Net for any personal business and just using it for college business? Is that the goal?
What do you mean WCC Net? You mean the Wi-Fi?
WCCnet.edu.
Oh, yeah. So it should be used for college business. That's the way that we're moving now. One of the things that we will be doing is providing additional guidelines to people about other resources that they can use. But yeah, there's years and years ago when some of the things were started, there wasn't really any other players, right? I mean, you didn't have Gmail that people could get for free. You didn't have access to file storage. Well, those things are available now. And really, from a security standpoint, and some things that we want to promote from a security standpoint, it behooves us to go that direction. One of the things that people may do is when they have one email account, they use that one email account for their password for different sources, right? And so now you use your email for different passwords, and then if you don't change the password, then people have different ways to get your credentials. And so we're just moving to something that I think is more secure. And again, people have other resources to be able to do those things.
So if you're emeritus, what use would WCC.edu do for you, and you're not working here? What use would that perk be as an emeritus if you can't use it, if you can only use it for business here and you're not doing any business here? So would that be a useless perk?
No,
President Belanca's got
if I
an
may,
idea.
It's not a useless perk because the whole purpose of it is so that you can be updated on what's going on at the college and communicate with each other based on that. But I don't know. I was surprised to find out anybody would use a college email address for personal business. So if that was considered the perk, I guess it's not the perk anymore.
I'm just thinking that people want to know that.
If they did, well, I think is that what, have they been told that?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
People need to know that address is not for personal use. And
Okay.
as an emeritus, well, the only word I can think of is perk. It's for contacting people on campus and for your colleagues and for nothing else. And people need to know that.
Good point.
Thank you.
Great point. Thank you. Great point.
Any other questions?
I have one, not a question, but a complimentary comments that I've heard, I know people that are part-time professors both here at WCC and at other colleges and universities in Southeast Michigan, including the University of Michigan, who remarked to me the strength of the support, the IT support they felt they were getting here at WCC that they were not getting at the other institution that they were a part-time faculty member at. I just want to compliment you. I took that as a point of pride when I heard those comments over the course of the past year during the pandemic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Blanca, anything else?
I think everyone thanked them. Thank you so much. And also, please thank your staff for us.
Thank you.
Appreciate all the
Thank you
work
very
you
much.
do. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more special report this evening, WCC at Harriet Street and Park Ridge update. I'm calling on Associate Vice President Tucker to update us, please.
Good evening. A little vertically challenged compared to Todd. Change the microphone. It's my pleasure to provide this annual update. I do send Anthony's regards. He told me to tell the board. Of course, he's at home, not feeling well, but wish he could be here on tonight. So I'm hopefully going to try to do his annual report justice. Wanted to provide the board an update and really a history of where we started at Harriet Street and Park Ridge. In 1994, we joined a partnership with, of course, at that time, Michigan Works, to provide some outreach at what they called the Harriet Commerce Center. And what most people don't know is that that was a much smaller space, and that in 2001, due to some expansion at that location, we moved to a much larger space, around 3,500 square feet. And the real thought some 20 years ago was, how could the college make a meaningful connection to eastern Washtenaw County, knowing that that side had some challenges, which we'll talk about tonight, and the college endeavored to make that connection to hopefully get individuals excited about education and one day enroll at the community college. In the late 2000s, we entered into a relationship with the city of Ypsilanti informally to provide some enrichment programming. There were also some challenges related to some of the K-12 students in that area, but we codified that relationship and really defined what our role was, what the city's role was, and then, of course, what Washtenaw County's role was in 2012. And that is a 3-year memorandum of understanding that's reviewed annually and is updated each 3 years. There's really some realities that I want to share with the board tonight, which should be our driving force behind why some 20 years ago we decided to partner on that side of the county, but why we continue that partnership and the resources that we allocate today. We know the unemployment rate in Washtenaw County historically is lower than national average. As of June, it's 4.7%. It compares to the national average in Michigan of 4.29%. And in Ann Arbor, traditionally, that number is even lower due to the highly educated community as well as the jobs that are available. But what's clearly obvious is that in Ypsilanti, that number nearly doubles to nearly 7%. And I want to kind of walk through some measures based upon the U.S. Census Bureau on what Washtenaw County looks like, what the city of Ann Arbor looks like, what the city of Ypsilanti looks like, and then to kind of drill down to the communities in which we have strategic relationships. So in Washtenaw County, kind of a measuring stick is median income, nearly $60,000 a year. There's 13% living below the poverty line. But from an educational standpoint, and the U.S. Census Bureau measures education on, did you go to high school, did you get some college, or did you get a bachelor's degree? But there's around 55.9% in the county that have a bachelor's degree or higher. So if we can, for tonight's presentation, use that as our measuring stick. We look to Ann Arbor, which we naturally would assume that the income is higher, $72,000 is the median income. What's interesting to note is that over 20% of Ann Arbor residents are living in poverty. But then 76% have a bachelor's degree or higher. Once again, really no news there, right? We start looking at Ypsilanti, that median income drops to below $40,000. There's 31.6% living in poverty. And that educational attainment level drops to around 43%. Think about the city of Ypsilanti proper. But then when we start going into some census tracts, specifically where we deliver our services today and have strategic partnerships, that income level drops to $22,000. And over 50%, specifically within a mile radius of Park Ridge, are living in poverty. Then educational attainment drops to just under 17%. Once again, really codifying the reason why we, I believe years ago, did this outreach. Start looking at the south side of Ypsilanti, which is in between Park Ridge and Harriet Street as you go south. The income level drops to around $17,000. Nearly 29% are living in poverty. The educational attainment is around 22%. Willow Run, which has been a strategic location that we are continuing to get requests to provide support. Annual income, $34,000 on a median scale. Nearly 28% are living in poverty, and then about 22% have a bachelor's degree. But in West Willow, while the income upticks because there's some factories in that area, around $39,000 a year is the median household income, but nearly 38% are still living in poverty. The educational attainment drops to just under 14%. Once again, showing kind of that area in Ypsilanti where you see on your screen the Tyler Road being that West Willow area through Willow Run are some strategic areas in which we are attempting to expand partnerships to drive, of course, hopefully individuals to our two locations that exist at Park Ridge and Harriet Street, but also in conversation with the Ypsilanti District Library that will be opening a new library in 2022. We've already reached out to say, could you potentially provide programming, much like the fast track programs that we talked about during our strategic plan update that could be delivered virtually or anywhere, that maybe one of those locations is where we can stand up some training. Traditionally, we at the college have looked at Harriet Street serving adults and Park Ridge serving students, or K-12 students. But as we talked about in February during our strategic plan update, we really are trying to reimagine the work that we do under the banner of college and career readiness, meaning that we can touch an adult at Park Ridge, or we can touch a sixth grader at Harriet Street. So not being confined that the work that we do is based upon a building, but that the work that we do it does not matter where we do it, we still can get it done. Over the last year, we've realigned staffing and financial resources to increase the impact to the community. So no longer are we just providing resources for this event or this program or this initiative, but we're looking under the thought of how does it impact potential readiness from our K-12 students that lead to them getting, whether it's a dual enrollment opportunity or after they graduate high school, coming to the college and becoming part of the WCC family, or from a career readiness perspective, providing the training and the education and the access so that they can provide a meaningful life for their family by way of not just education, but employment. Some partnerships that we have continued to cultivate over this year is with the University of Michigan, specifically Telling It, which is a program that provides expression for our young people, not just in the summer camp, but also throughout the academic year. Michigan Works, by way of our co-location at Harriet Street, the program of multicultural health, which even in the midst of COVID, we partnered with them to provide some education regarding the COVID-19 vaccine and what the risks were for the population in that area. And then Eastern Michigan University, through their Engage EMU office, The Towsley provides us tutors and staffing and even sometimes financial support to support our existing summer camp and after-school programs. And then throughout this year, Ypsilanti Community Schools, where we stood up our learning lab, and we are continuing to explore some new opportunities there. Our impact over the last year, we also provided virtual classes that were free. We took our tutoring online. We provided our mentoring on Saturdays that was on Zoom rather than in person. We tried to increase our literacy component, but then also expose our K-12 students by way of our partnership through YCS to the Nature Conservancy, knowing that many of these students have never been out in nature. And that has now expanded to not just online, but throughout our summer camp, where they've taken field trips there. And then, of course, scratch coding and art that we were able to do virtually. But with every good deed, there's always a challenge. So we had some challenge related to attendance, mainly because of access to technology. So we found that a number of the students that would log in were sharing a device. Well, that works when you maybe have 1 or 2 people, where you have a family of 4 trying to huddle around a computer. It becomes a challenge. But then the parents, the aunts, the grandparents that generally provide support to those students at Park Ridge, they did not possess the digital literacy skills to support their child, their grandchild, or their family member as they accessed online or virtual or remote education. We mentioned to you previously in a previous report that we had the Learning Lab that went through June 8th. An average of 22 participants were able to come to Park Ridge and have access to a safe place with fast and reliable internet, and in many cases, their only meal or snack of the day. We had a number of partners to help us stand that up. It was success in the fact that some students had not logged in since the pandemic started. But with every good thing comes a challenge. Staffing and support, while we provided some of our staff, YCS provided some of their staff, out of those staff, they weren't knowledgeable about Google Classroom or the new teaching modalities. And then, of course, attendance began to fall once the students were phased back in. We additionally, financially, as we mentioned before, have had almost a full interior renovation of Park Ridge. That was due to the great support of the Barfield family, Ann Arbor Community Foundation, the City of Ypsilanti, Washtenaw County, and a local church to the tune of about $75,000. But this summer, for the first time, Ypsilanti Community Schools wanted to invest in our summer camp. That was much smaller, 29 students compared to 80 or 90, but they funded 15 out of the 29 slots out of their budget because they thought so highly of the changes that we've made and the refocus that they wanted their students to come. Ann Arbor Community Empowerment Fund, hosted at the Ann Arbor Community Foundation, sent us an email and then forwarded us $25,000 just to continue to do the good work. And of course, with the United Way and the COFU, Coordinated Funders Transition, that's now morphing into a new funding model, they provided us $30,000 to use by December 31st of 2021 to support the good work. And then in response to the digital literacy issues that we identified both with students and their families, their parents, their aunts, their grandparents, we received $60,000 that also has to be spent by the end of the year, which will allow for us to put technology in the hands of those families, but then also provide that training. Now, some would say, okay, COVID is different. We're going to be in person in the fall, but mostly every school district is providing a remote or virtual learning option, even Ypsilanti Community Schools. So we know that there's still going to be a number of students that are still at home that need, of course, not just technology, but they need training. The 2021 Summer Learning Experience is going on and is live and well. As I mentioned, it's smaller classes, but for the first time, by way of our financial support that we received, we were able to hire Michigan certified teachers Traditionally, we relied on Eastern Michigan to provide us their second-year teachers in training, which is more like tutors. But now we have certified teachers in reading, writing, and math, and they've been able to pre- and will post-test students to look at their academic improvement. It is our goal that these 29 students, a large majority of them, will now become part of a cohort that will travel not just in the summer, but will be with us in the fall. And our hope is that each year as we grow that cohort, they can become part of their own family that we see transition to one day be a WCC student, because we're trying to make sure that everything we do aligns with both college readiness and career readiness. The camp, which has going on now through August 13th, not only do they have an academic portion, 96 hours of academic education and training, they also have a number of field trips that will reinforce what they're learning throughout the day. But then there's some enrichment activities. We can't just have all school throughout the day, where we have a walking classroom, there's soccer and art, agricultural science experiments, and as of last week, all the students learned how to build and to fly drones. I will say that there were no accidents or injuries, and all of those drones made it safely to the ground. In addition to the structure of the camp that's different, each week has a theme. Animals was one theme 2 weeks ago. So when you think about an animal farm, not only did they learn about science in the morning, they then had to build the farm in the afternoon. After they built that farm, they then the next day had to learn about the dimensions of the farm. So all of those themes and all of those enrichment activities are now going hand in hand with the educational experience they're having in the morning. What are the goals for this department for next fiscal year? For one is to strengthen our partnership with YCS by providing, of course, our fall after-school programming and potentially standing up a learning lab like we did last year. Pursue some expansion around CTE for dual enrollment. There's a conversation happening right now across the county as to how can high schools partner more with the community college to increase enrollment in CTE. But then we're going to increase access with targeted populations. So as I mentioned before, Harriet Street or Park Ridge no longer is siloed to the service that they can provide. So in both locations, we're going to be looking to provide career readiness workshops, basic and employability skills, and really provide a foundation for not only the youth that may be looking for employment, but those adults that need a job and need education. And then we're going to be pursuing external funding to support the impact work. We had the great opportunity over the last year to have, 6 figures of external support. And I'm pleased to announce, with Dr. Balaka's permission, earlier today, which did not make it in time for the slides, the Ralph Wilson Foundation reached out to the college because of the good work that we're doing and said, think of a concept. Think of an idea that you would put before us to potentially fund. And we did. And we looked at how we could impact this side of the county with very intentional pathways to existing academic programs. But they responded earlier today with their board unanimously approved a collaboration between us and a number of community colleges. And they're going to essentially fund our vision along with providing support, not just for the vision, but for the success of the vision in 2 phases. So over the next few months, we'll be working alongside that foundation as they look to help us really support this side of the county and support the region. With that, the last slide is just an example of a few of our students who were in the educational component, which, as I've had the opportunity to stop by a number of days, the students are engaged, they're having fun, and one student reported to their parent, this is the best experience, and I believe they're 10 years old, that I've ever had in an educational environment, and they're very excited to be there. So with that, this is our annual update. Now entertain any questions from the board.
Good work on the Ralph Wilson Foundation.
Yeah,
Nice, very nice job to hear those funds coming forward.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
I'd like to say that Brandon has completely revitalized this initiative, and I'd like to thank you. You know, fortunately at Washtenaw, we don't have many people that do what I'm going to say right now. Some just check a box. Got that done, got that done. Not Brandon, and not a lot of our people here. They do more than that. It matters. It matters. And this community matters to Brandon and to his team that works there. And you've made such a big difference in their lives. You've worked with that superintendent of Ypsilanti schools. You've worked with the legislators in that area, with the ministers in the area, with the government in the area. Brandon, great job.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's kudos to the team. We could not do this without Anthony and Liz and Lavisa. That team is amazing, and they're passionate about the work that they do. And to have the support, not only externally, but of course as the institution and from the board, it makes the work even that much easier to do. So, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Brandon.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, you can't see because
Oh,
of your bags.
please.
I just want to say, just really as a comment, that many years ago, just so happened, Rick was on the board and myself, and I don't know, some committee were talking about south side of Ypsilanti. Well, when I worked for the county, Washtenaw County, I worked at Towner Street. So I knew and know about the south side of Ypsilanti because I had the people, those residents were my
Caseload.
well, they were caseloads, but I looked at them differently than that. But mainly, I ran the summer youth program for many years, and so I had the students there and putting them in the jobs, as you know about the summer youth program. And so it's always been, what else can we do from the county? I was, trying to figure out what else can we do. We would be in the community as much as we could, trying to get them to come to us. Then finally got the director and the president at that time to look at having a program where the community, mainly the adults, in order for them to find jobs, because that's when the plants were starting to shut down, and there was an influx of people. I mean, everything was shutting down at that time. And if we could get community college to have someone to come in on Harriet Street to train them on computers. Now, I was not a computer literate, even though I started taking classes at that time. But interesting, we did do that. And it got so well known in the community that we couldn't hardly keep up with the people and the computers because we didn't have enough computers for the people. So it turned out to be really, really good. They were anxious to learn. They were anxious to figure out. And then the past person who was in charge, director of the IT department, said, well, how about if we get computers and then the kids can build their own computers and they can take it home. So they did that, and that was a real big hit for them. So we've always been in that community trying to get them activated that learning is fun, and trying to get them to understand that going to college is not something that they can't think about, that it was a far away, like a galaxy somewhere. So when Rick and I were on this committee, we were talking about what can we do for the south side of Ypsilanti? What else can the college do to help? So we started with one of our other past presidents, that we need to get in there, but really didn't know what else. So I was able to talk about some things that we had been doing. Maybe we need to do more in there, especially for the people who are looking for work. They need to upgrade their skill levels or whatever. So we started doing a little stuff in, not a lot, but enough to get the people to come in, register them with us, because Washtenaw County was on one side, and the county was on the other side. Well, Washtenaw Community College on one side. But anyway, we're on both sides. But all you had to do is walk up a ramp. You know what that ramp is. And so we were separated like that. But, over the years, I am just amazed. And now I'm really kind of speechless, because compared to what it was and where it is now and going, oh my God, that's light years. That's improvements. That's giving the community, plus their community's been revitalized in their housing. That gives them hope. It gives the children hope. It gives the adults hope. It makes them feel that they belong somewhere. Because at one time, they didn't feel like they belonged anywhere. And I think this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for everybody, the students, to know that I can be wherever I want to be. And this is telling them that. And it's also telling those parents, I can be somebody. I can get me a job. Now, as much as I was and some other people, we were in those homes. We were talking to those people. We were trying to get them signed up. Come over to us. We'll help you. I mean, they came, but they didn't. A lot of them, they didn't follow through what they were supposed to do. So it was really a challenge at that time. But I'm hoping it's not as a challenge now. It probably, but not as much as it was at that time. And I thank you and your staff. I thank everyone who's been doing the work that you're doing. I just don't know what else I can say right now. It's just really mind-boggling for me, being in that situation during those years and where it is at now. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you, Brandon. We have monthly reports. Tab B in your packet tonight, personnel recommendations. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the personnel recommendations as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
I move we approve the personnel recommendations.
And we have support? Is there any discussion? Trustee Hatcher.
Another 10 staff members are leaving. We had 10 last month. Since April, there have been, I think, 28 staff leaving for various reasons, retiring, moving on. And that brings to my mind the sort of exit interview, the sort of culling of their experience before they leave, and also sharing the college ethos with those who are coming next, and how important both of those things are. We seem to be in a transition of a lot of people. I'm not getting old, but everybody else is. So,
good point.
Thank you. Leaving. So it's troubling, but it's also, a healthy, good thing if we do it right. And I'm sure HR is planning to do it right, and is looking for good people. I'm also concerned, not concerned, but wanted special thanks to Arnett Chisholm for his service of 33 years in counseling and in administration. Was an incredible role model for our African American students, and a conscientious counselor, as well as a good softball player. So I wish him well. That's it.
Diana.
Ruth beat me to the punch about Arnett.
Yeah, me too.
many moons ago, back in that again. But Arnett and I used to work together for Washtenaw County, and our assignments was in Howe. Now, I know maybe some people here know where Howe is, Howe, Michigan, Livingston County. Well, I had heard about it, but I didn't know what to expect until I got there. And Arnett and another lady of color was there, and another guy before I got there. And I had a rude awakening. And coming from Ann Arbor, I should have known, but it wasn't so overt, of the racism and how we were viewed there and the things that were said to us. But Arnett was so, I said, man, I don't know how you can work here, all this is going on about us and what they're saying. And he was so cool and laid back, and he said, oh, that's all right. He said, just ignore them. That's their problem, not yours. I thought, oh, okay. And that's what I did. I had to grow, because I had mainly been I was born and raised in Ann Arbor. So naturally, this was my safety net, but not there, and not being accustomed to having those types of things happening. Go home on weekends and come back where KKK is sprayed across the building, or other words that was sprayed across the building. I mean, that's very, very unsettling. But we managed, and he eventually found a job here. He left there and got the job here at Washtenaw Community College, and I was so proud of him. And then I think I was the last Mohegan to leave, but I got transferred back down here to my main office in Ypsilanti. And so, but in any case, Arnett has just always been a very cool, laid-back person. He listens to you, he talks to you in a manner that is just reassuring, and I just wish him the best of luck in his retirement. And I know he will, because he wants to start traveling. So anyway, that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I'd just add to that, I made the mistake as chairman of the English department of sending a woman of color to teach at an extension course in Howell. And I could tell you lots of stories.
Hearing no more discussion, call the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Those recommendations are adopted. Facilities Development Report. Associate Vice President Whipstock, please.
Good evening. I want to give you some updates on several projects. Two of them being our major capital projects, the Morris Lawrence Building, project renovation. We continue to work with and meet with Hobbs and Black Weekly, also with Stenco. One of the major milestones that we had to meet was getting the equipment ordered. That happened the week before, so we do have the major equipment on order. We're still on track to start in mid-December with an end date of July. Student Center renovation, we continue working with Fishbeck. Bids are due back this week, actually tomorrow, for the mechanical contractor on the project. We continue working on the logistics of moving people around. We're going to move people out to do certain quadrants in there and move them back in, so we're still working on the logistics of that. Other projects, some visual projects that you see happening around the campus. We're doing lots 4 and 6, the resurfacing of those parking lots. 4 was completed today. We'll get it striped tomorrow and back in service on Friday. 6 will start tomorrow and should be back online on Tuesday. but that's if weather is cooperative. The other one is the roofing project. The Great Lakes building has been complete. We got a couple punch list items we got to go back over with the vendor. And the LA building is underway with a target date of mid-August being complete. Internet.
Any questions? Trustee Doherty.
On the construction contracts issued in the past 30 days, over $20,000. I see Damon Flowers, construction project management consultant. What project is he a consultant? And I have a lot of respect for him. So will he be representing us on the Morris Lawrence or the Student Center building?
I can answer that. May I answer it?
I don't, whoever wants to answer.
Okay, well, Damon Flowers will be working with me, and he will be overseeing the construction of the $10 million renovation of the Morris Lawrence building.
Okay, that's what I assumed, but I wanted
Yeah.
to clarify that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Hatcher.
With respect to number 16, the MLB retention pond, I noticed that the fountain was going
Isn't that
today,
nice?
which is nice. And I do recall a board member years ago who wanted it to have color, but never mind.
Actually, it does have lights.
Lights, but she wanted red, white, and blue, or
Well,
never mind.
it's a multitude of colors. You could program it for various different colors.
Let's not, I was kidding.
But it actually
So was he.
has colors.
It's very nice to see it going
Yes.
and filled.
I'd just like to make a quick comment.
President Blanca.
A quick comment. Yes, thank you for the retention pond. Bill, thank you. Thank you, Craig. Thank you and your team. It looks great. I've been meaning to thank you for the epoxy floor redo at Student Center when we walk in to the building. Appreciate all of that. And all the maintenance upgrades that have been going on all summer, and definitely the ground staff. Please thank everyone for us. Everyone's doing a great job.
We'll do that. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you. And this is the point where we turn to my fellow trustees to see if anybody has any comments they would like to make tonight. Anybody feel like stepping forward? President Blanca.
I have a brief one. You know me.
Coming back to Trustee Hatcher,
Thank
please.
you so much. I continue, and I will continue until I get some resolution, to be concerned about our loss of daycare for our students and staff. And I'd like to suggest, and I would look forward to some reporting on the status of that plan sometime this fall. September might be too early, but October, of how many students have taken advantage of whatever scholarship thing we're offering, I don't know what that is. How many students have asked for more, some sort of report on the status of that change. Does that
I'd be
make
happy to
sense?
provide that I'm not sure when the right numbers are
right.
in. So I'm not sure if it's September.
No, what I'm saying
But
is I don't
I'll
know if
work
it's
with
September,
Linda to
October,
see what we
November,
can do.
whenever is a good time to put that together. I'd like to hear about that.
Okay. All right, it's my turn.
Does the president have comments?
Yes, I do. At
Please.
this moment, I'd like to acknowledge several achievements on our campus. First, I'd like to ask Pete Leskovich to please join us on stage. Pete is you may remember him. He's from student activities.
Of
He's
course
the one
we
who gave
do.
the esports presentation. But it's a real pleasure to recognize you, Pete. I received this from Phi Theta Kappa. You, for 10 years of service as advisor of WCC's Beta Gamma Alpha chapter of Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. So thank you. You are an outstanding advisor. I think those are real. Wow, that's great. He has a real passion for students, and he's kind of a guy who can make things happen. In talking about passion for students, I also have an opportunity to recognize some trustees. So just a minute. They're in here. Okay. Treasurer Angela Davis. This is from the Michigan Community College Association, a pin for 5 years of service. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Trustee Landau. Hold on. Congratulations. For 20 years of service.
I will, thank you.
All right.
I'm surprised that wasn't a bigger box.
Yeah. Chair Milliken, 5 years of service. Hold on. Michigan Community College Association. Thank you really so much.
Thank you so kindly.
You're welcome.
Look at that.
And trustee Diana McKnight Morton, 25 years of service.
Whoa.
Not really.
Thank you. Really, thank you. I'd like to thank the trustees. We couldn't do anything without your support and leadership, and I know you have jobs and lives, and really appreciate all the advice and time you devote to this college. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I may have something else. Yes, I do. Terry Barnes. You had an opportunity to see him earlier. This, I believe, is the very first board meeting that Terry is actually joining us. He's our new Chief Financial Officer, and he comes to WCC most recently from Nove, a financial technology startup in Miami, Florida, where he served as a CFO. Prior to that, he had a 2-decade career working nationally and internationally at General Motors, most recently as the finance director of Global Capital Management. Terry's first day was July 6th, and we are all looking forward to working with you, Terry. Welcome to joining our family. And last Sunday, I think it was last Sunday, I had the opportunity of going to a business dinner with the roofers, just a couple of roofers from the roofing trade union, the roofers, the waterproofers, and allied workers.
These are good people to know.
Pardon me?
These are good people to know.
They are good.
Yeah.
They are very
Especially
good.
with all this rain.
Yes, yes. And now this week, we have 400 members of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and National Electrical Contractors here on campus. Earlier this month, we provided virtual training to the operative plasters and cement masons. And next month, we'll provide virtual training to more than 1,700 UA members. Thank you, Michelle. That's your area. But I do want to tell the board something. I was so impressed with Marilyn Dunham. When I had dinner with the roofers that day, to hear the conversation that she was having with them and encouraging them, to continue their partnership with us and to do more. She is a real go-getter, and she is very, very dedicated to what she does. And she's not with us tonight, but Dean Dunham, Dr. Marilyn Dunham, does an outstanding job, as well as our very favorite Patrick Downey. You know who he is. Yeah. Okay, he's wonderful. And we have a lot of exciting news to share. A new car, our new all-electric 2001 Ford Mustang Mach-E SUV. And we're really excited to add this award-winning electric vehicle. I thought you might like that.
2,000.
Bravo.
To our bank of cutting-edge technology, and it's really helping us to move forward in our, of course, in our advanced transportation and mobility space.
You get to drive it?
It's my new car. I didn't want to tell you about that.
Okay, I figured, yeah.
No, it's very, very
It's
nice.
actually quite frightening.
Brandon won't let me near it,
Yeah.
okay? That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Turning now to old business, we have before us approval of 2021-2022 faculty sabbaticals. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the attached requested 2021-2022 faculty sabbatical leaves as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
I move we approve these sabbaticals as submitted.
Second?
And we have support from Trustee Hatcher. Thank you. Is there any discussion? Vanessa, would you please call the roll?
Chair Milliken,
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis,
Yes.
Treasurer DeVarty,
DeVarty, yes.
Secretary Hatcher,
Yes.
Trustee Landau,
Yes.
Trustee McKnight-Morton.
Yes.
Recommendation is approved. Thank you. Next order of business, reappointment to the Washtenaw Technical Middle College Board of Directors. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the reappointment of Will Johnson and Donald Purick to the Washtenaw Technical Middle College Board of Directors for 3-year terms ending April 30th, 2024. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Support.
And motion and support. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The recommendation is approved. Thank you. And at this point, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this trustee meeting.
So moved.
Support, DeVarty,
Motion and
support.
support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The trustee meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for attending.